Crowds of women march with the Capitol Hill in the background during the Women's March in Washington, D.C. on Jan. 21, 2017. The conversation this fall around sexual harassment and abuse has led millions of women to speak out about their experiences and begin demanding change in their industries. Now the movement has reached a new community: evangelical Christians. More than 140 evangelical Christian women published a statement this week calling on churches to support women who come forward with stories of abuse, and to address what they see as silence by many church leaders and congregations. Within about 24 hours of the statement's release on Wednesday, it garnered more than 3,000 signatures, including prominent Christian women like authors Jen Hatmaker and Ann Voskamp, poet Amina Brown, and Lynn Hybels, co-founder of one of the country's largest churches. The statement features the hashtag silence is not spiritual and kicks off a campaign that will run through Easter. It's time. Call churches and faith communities to break silence on gender-based violence. Silence is not spiritual. https t.co.ti9albitch1pic. Twitter. com. FCWCH5MGLQ Jen Hatmaker. At Jen Hatmaker. December 20, 2017. Count me in. Because there is no doubt in my mind on this matter that silence is not spiritual. Beth Moore. Ek Beth Moore Ulpim. December 20, 2017. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. Ephesians chapter 5:11. Silence is not spiritual. It tacitly condones those who commit violence and betrays vulnerable people that Jesus calls us to hear, embrace and protect. https t.co.newsfmv Serene Jones. At Serena Jones. December 20, 2017. Women of all faiths, races, cultures and backgrounds are bravely breaking their silence, the statement said. Yet many in communities of faith do not match their bravery with action. Instead, feeling the problem is too pervasive, they have acquiesced, leaving whole churches and communities paralyzed. The women behind the campaign, Belinda Baumann of 1 Million Thumbprints and Lisa Harper of Freedom Road, according to Religion News Service, said that Christian women, like women of all backgrounds, have been discussing this violence and abuse for years. This now is not a new now. There have been generations of women in the church that have been saying exactly what we're saying for years, Baumann told RNS. It just happens to be a moment of decision where the structures that begin listen or not. The campaign comes after the #ChurchToo where women shared experiences of sexual violence in the church community on social media after the #MeToo movement exploded this fall. A number of evangelical women have spoken out over the past year about how their community often shies away from political or negative topics. But that seems to be changing in the age of President Donald Trump, who has been accused by nearly 20 women of sexual misconduct, and Roy Moore, who recently lost his Alabama Senate race after he was accused of preying on teenage girls but still won 80% of white evangelical voters. We call our pastors, our elders, and our parishioners who have been silent to speak up and stand up for all who experience abuse. The #silence is not spiritual statement said, there is no institution with greater capacity to create protected spaces for healing and restoration for survivors, as well as confession, repentance and rehabilitation for perpetrators. While these women believe their churches should be places of safety, research released this year shows that clergy often lack the knowledge to address violence in their communities. Christian research firm Lifeway Research surveyed Protestant pastors about how they respond to domestic violence, and nearly half of pastors, 47%, said they did not know if anyone in their church had been a victim of domestic violence. Most pastors, 87% said they believe a person experiencing domestic violence would find their church to be a safe haven, but only half of pastors, 52%, said they had a plan to help victims of domestic abuse. Still, the women who signed the statement hope that by speaking up they can encourage their churches to take action and fight both systemic and individual injustices in our midst. Doing nothing is not acceptable. Silence is not spiritual, the statement said, and action is not optional.